Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you out there in internet land? This is Garfield Waller with an episode of Rock the Mic. Just doing a sound check first, guys. So check, baby, one, two. Check, baby, one, two, three. Let me know if you're hearing me, guys. Let me know how this is coming across. I want to know that the audio is good. So could you put something in the comment for me, please, so I can see whether or not this thing is working. I'd be happy if you could do that for me. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get going. Let's get going tonight. It is 10:01, the 16th of August. So, guys, if you see my topic, yes, the election date has been announced. The election date has been announced. What next? What next? Where do we go from here? Where will the parties take it from here? Will everything be kosher? Will they continue as they did before? Or are they going to do something new? Will their strategy be the same old, same old? I'm curious to know. I don't know about you, but I would love to know. So, guys, first, can you let me know what you're hearing? Are you hearing everything okay? If not, just please give me some feedback. I need some feedback. I want to know too loud, too soft, too much bass or treble. Please let me know what's happening here, guys. I'd love for you to tell me. But, guys, like I said, the election date has been announced. And we're going to touch on some of these topics and maybe a few other things. Maybe a few other things to, just see where we're at. Just to see where we're at. So, guys, like I said, welcome again. Whether you're gonna catch me tonight live or you're gonna watch this on the replay, I want you to know that I appreciate your time and your effort. You could be doing other things, but the fact that you will log in either tonight or later on, maybe a day or two later, as most of you do, I appreciate it. So, guys, before we get to election day, there's something I'd like to address. There are people in Jamaica, I think, who dislike the fact that we who live abroad will chime in sometimes. I guess they think we're interfering. I just love them to know that I don't think it's not interference. It's not interference, guys. We are Jamaicans. We are loyal Jamaicans, patriotic Jamaicans, even though we may live elsewhere. And we are always interested in what's going on. The fact that we are miles away means that sometimes we don't get accurate news of what's going on. We're hearing little bits and pieces, and sometimes what we hear is very partisan in nature. And that sort of concerns me. Guys, I don't know when we got to this stage, but nothing the other party does seems to be good enough. You never hear somebody from the green side saying, yes, the orange side did something good, or you never hear somebody from the orange side saying, yes, I agree with what the green side said. We have gone to the stage where we're calling each other some horrible, derogatory terms. And there's no need, there's honestly no need for that. There's no need for that. Hey, you may like one thing, I like another. Your neighbor likes the PNP, you like JLP, or vice versa. Yeah, we disagree on certain things, but it shouldn't be something that causes enmity between us. We can agree to disagree. And let's look at it this way. We're all Jamaicans and we want the best for our country. We want the best for our country. So putting down somebody from the other party isn't helping. It's not helping. Guys, I've heard people saying, hey, the PNP started X, and now the JLP took it up and finished it. Credit should go to the PNP. I don't, listen, to me, it doesn't matter who did what. As long as it's being done for the country, I think fine. I don't care if one person came up with the idea of building a highway and the other party came in later on and finished it. So what? It's all for the good of the country. It's all for the good of the country. We're all dealing with the same country. Reminds me of the story when the teacher gave the two boys, gave the entire class an essay to write about their favorite pet. So it happened that two brothers were in the same class. The two brothers in the class. At the end, the teacher penalized them, saying, hey, the essay sounded like you copied from each other. The boy said, but miss, it's the same dog we're talking about. We're brothers, we live in the same house. It's the same country we're dealing with. And we want everything that's good for that country. So I don't see where or why the enmity. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense, guys. So let's move on. Now, I want to know, what will the parties do differently now that the date has been announced? Because before that, you heard everybody, call it, Andrew, call it, Andrew, call it. Well, the Prime Minister decided, okay, he is going to announce a date, and he did. And we have September 3rd as the date of the general elections. Now, I want to know, will the parties be doing anything different? Will they be embarking on anything different? Will they change their strategies? Will they ramp things up or tone things down? That is what I am curious about to see how they will approach this. But there's a few other things that are of concern to me. For example, this thing with Dr. Tufton and the so-called fake audio, tampered audio of KD Knight. That sucks. Something like that sucks, man. I don't believe these politicians at this stage should be playing games like this. There's no need for it. Play what the man said and talk about it, but the tampering, no. I don't believe that should be happening. Guys, tonight, regardless of what I say, remember, I am neutral. Not going for the JLP, not going for the PNP. I'm just looking at what's in the news today or for the last couple of days. I believe Tufton should make an apology, or else, as according to Katie, he's gonna sue him. Let's see how this works out. Something else I read, it's about the negotiations between the JTA and the Minister of Finance, Ms. Favour Williams. I understood that those meetings broke down where the JTA actually walked out and gave the finance minister, the Ministry of Finance, a deadline of this Sunday night to come back with a substantially improved salary offer. Now, this is going to be very, how should I say, ticklish, because at this point, the JLP, the government, is going to be caught between a rock and a hard place. Yes, they need to take care of salaries for the teachers, but is the money there? Is the money there? Teachers are saying they were insulted by the offer. The ministry is offering a 4-year package of 0% in the first year and a 2.5% increase in the next 3 years. And the teachers are saying, no, they don't want that because they have been working without a wage deal since the 31st of March. So the teachers are up in arms. So we're interested to see what will the Minister of Finance do about this, because the JLP don't want to look like, hey, when they're neglecting the teachers with elections coming up so close and the opening of school again being around that time. So it's going to be fun to see how they work this out. How is this going to be worked out? Should be interesting, guys. And I'm hoping the news will come sooner rather than later so we can have a chance to, dissect this and see what the Ministry of Finance really does. Something else I saw where the PNP announced that, what's his name, Mr. Bunting said the JLP is telling a lie from the pit of hell, that the PNP has plans of removing Mr. Kevin Blake, who is a police commissioner. And the PNP saying, hey, there's no such truth in the matter. Right now, the PNP they're in a tricky situation because, hey, if you as a PNP think that crime is out of hand, wouldn't you remove the commissioner, replace him? If you don't replace him, that means you're relying all along about crime being unmanageable. So the PNP is, oh my gosh, they have the tiger by the tail, and I don't think they know how to let go. I heard also, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but can somebody put this in the chat? That at a GLP meeting somewhere in Manchester, because of some little disturbance, somebody lost their life. I hope that's not the case. I would hate to see us go back to that political violence. So could you let me know, guys? But like I said, I'm trying to stay in the middle of the road. I hope you all see that. And if anybody's listening, go ahead, put something in the chat for me. No, the big news, the big news is the PNP releasing their manifesto. Giant document. Document looked good. Some areas of it impressed me. And I think the GLP were beat to the punch by the release of this document. I think the PNP took what you call a preemptive strike and caught the JLP napping or with their pants down. The JLP, instead of just relaxing and, okay, let the PNP have their moment in the sun with their manifesto, they decided to attack it on some specifications of grammar. There were some grammatical errors, and the PNP didn't mention the word gang. I think that whole thing is petty. I think what the GLP should do is, hey, now that you've seen what the PNP have released, now you come out with yours and let the public have a look at both and see which is better. Since we're dealing with the same country, yes, you're gonna have some overlap. You're gonna have some overlap because listen, if the governing party starts some initiative, it wouldn't make sense you just coming in and wiping that out. You'd have to continue. Some of them you're going to have to continue. So when we look at the GLP manifesto, we have seen some things that, hey, we look at the PNP manifesto, we have seen some things that the GLP have said and are currently doing. So we await the GLP releasing their manifesto. And something we're also waiting for is that debate that has been promised. There should be about 3 debates. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we should have some debates coming up, and that's going to be interesting. That is going to be interesting. I haven't got a chance to find out who is going to be doing the debate, whether it's a prime minister or some of his key ministers or who on the PNP side, but it should be interesting. It should be an interesting thing. Moving on to my dear parish of St. Mary. I'm going to St. Mary. St. Mary Western, St. Mary Central, and St. Mary, what is it, Southeastern? The battle is heating up. And there's certain things I wish for. One, I noticed on Facebook comments being made by both parties. To me, it seems as though they're preaching to the choir. Each party is getting its base motivated. But I think these politicians are going to need more than their base to get them past the winning post. And I don't think they're doing that. The PNP is having these massive rallies, all these comrades turning out. Same thing with the JLP. But I think with the low turnout we had last election, I think the party should be going after the undecided. And just by preaching to your base, rallying your base, riling them up, I don't think that may be enough to get you past the winning post. You need to come onto some other programs where not just your party listeners are. And I'm inviting from now until the 3rd of September, I'd like to put an invitation out there to any politician, any one of the guys from St. Mary. You want to come on, let's talk. You want to come on and share your ideas, your goals, your objectives. Give me a call and let's do it. We're willing to sit with you and we go through what your plans are. whether you're JLP or PNP. If you're JLP, what do you intend to continue doing? What new initiatives are you coming up with? And if you're a PNP, what are your plans to further what the PNP has done or to throw out what the JLP did and come up with your things? I want to know, and I think there are a lot of people out there who would like to know, but unless they listen to your your Facebook channel or your Instagram, and if they do, all they're gonna hear is what you what you're telling your party members. We need to think on a broader basis. Some politicians, I don't know if they're afraid to speak or somebody has to speak for them. But at some time, guys, you cannot hide behind a ghostwriter. You can't do it all the time. There are times when you're going to have to come out and face the music. You're going to have to answer hard questions. And I think going into the election is the appropriate time. Some people are saying, few politicians are saying they're not ready to talk until the election date is called. Now the date has been called. And I'm saying to some, hey, stop hiding. Come forward. If you don't want to come with me, go talk to somebody else who is neutral enough to, hear both sides of the argument. But please, come on out. Listen, having the rallies are nice, Yeah, people like that. The dancing and the jeering each other. People like that. But on that day, when each individual goes into that voting booth, you never can tell. You never can tell what they will do. Some will take the money offered by these politicians and then vote the other way. You have to give the independents and the undecided a reason to put their X down for you. And I'd like to implore the politicians, listen, man, give me a call, email, anything. There's my WhatsApp number on the screen. Just call and let's get this going. If you're a politician, you shouldn't be afraid of any question. But it's great going on these walks. I say to both JLP and PNP, it's great walking through these districts and shaking hands, hugging babies and kissing babies and blah, blah, blah. But remember, when this election is over, starting the 4th of September, if you have won, all those walkthroughs are going to stop. Know the work begins. Know the work begins. And the way it looks, you have not said anything to the people about your plans or anything. You either say, time come, or loading for the third term. And that's all the people are hearing. Now, come the 4th, when you have to put plans, into motion. Are these plans going to take the people by surprise? Oh, we didn't know he planned to do this. We didn't know he planned to do that. Why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that? So it's best now to come out and say to the people, look, guys, this is what's going to happen. This is what I'm thinking of. This is what my party is thinking of. And I hear that some of these politicians, with the exception of maybe the older politicians, Montague and Dunn, who have been in office, and maybe Newell, there's some politicians who really don't have a team around them, who really don't have a core. And I would hate to see them winning and then having to bring in people from outside. You should, by this, have a core of guys from your community, from your constituency, who will help in carrying out certain things. And I hope whoever goes in will be fiscally responsible. One of the interesting things I was reading about on the PNP manifesto is their plan for agriculture. And I'm hoping that the JLP will come out with something tangible also to make sure we can push our agriculture forward. Because let's face it, I don't care if you want to talk about technology. We're an agricultural country. We're an agricultural society. And I think on agricultural society, we still import too much. People might cuss me, oh, you're a foreigner, can talk. I still think we import too much. And we need to find some way of getting help to the farmers, the rural farmers, getting them fertilizer, seeds, whatever, and most importantly, getting them good roads to transport their stuff out of the countryside to where it can be sold. Getting contracts with some of these hotels and guest houses that they can buy these products. Makes no sense a farmer is way up in choco planting and he can't get his crops out. So we need good roads, guys. And I know coming as election comes up, you can see a flurry of activity. Every politician wanting to do this, especially if they are from the government, doing this, doing that. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. I don't know how my people get fooled by this. You haven't seen the man for ages, and then suddenly there's a burst of activity. How long will he keep that up? And if he wins again and doesn't maintain this, what do you do? Do you just sit there and say, boy, as a politician, stay? So the politician has given you all this window dressing on, and suddenly the day election is done. That's it. You don't see him again in another 4 years. But guys, I make I make a pledge here. I'm gonna keep this going. And whoever wins those three constituencies, whether it's JLP or PNP, I'm gonna be at them. I'm gonna be at them. I'm gonna get listen. I wanna know that you win, you're gonna work. You win, you're gonna work. You're not gonna hide away. I don't care where you are. You're not gonna spend time in at garden house. You have to be in your community working. And we're gonna be watching everything. We are gonna be watching everything. We're gonna call people out. Make sure you are accountable to your constituency and the parish of St. Mary. So please, guys, if you are a voter in any of the three constituencies in St. Mary, use your vote wisely. Don't get tricked. Do not get tricked. I don't care who it is, which politician it is. Do not get tricked. There could be a host of marches and motorcades and cutting ribbons and throwing marl on the road or cleaning out this gutter, or do not get tricked. Whether you think you are a dieted Labourite or dieted PNP, look at what both parties are doing. Look at what they're doing. You think the JLP is doing a good job? And if they're doing a good job, are you willing to give them a third term? You think the PNP will do a better job? And if so, are you willing to give them a chance at running the country? You have to make that decision. You have to make that choice. Don't just sit there and say, hey, anything happen. And then you wring your hand and woe is me as a politician, steer them trickery again. It's up to you. The vote is in your hands. The power is in your hands. Don't get swayed by a couple little $1,000 here, and as them say, man, I feed the food. Politician, listen, if the man from the left want bribe you and you feel the vote the other way, go ahead. Him can't come back and ask you money. So you listen, the politician is trying to trick you. You better use your brain on him too. But I'd like everybody to turn out on September the 3rd. September the 3rd. And that day is an auspicious day because I think the last two elections were held on September the 3rd and the JLP were victorious. But let's see what happens here. We have now celebrated 63 years? And I honestly believe, I don't know what you think, I honestly believe that, and I'd hope that our country would be farther ahead. I hope that we'd be farther ahead and moving away from this partisan politics. And I hope with this coming election, whether we choose a new government or we give the present government another term, I'm hoping we can make some progress. And talking about that, 63 years, oh my God, I'm so ashamed that, you know something, I know the festival song. Up to now, I don't know which one win. I listened one night when they were playing all of them, and I cannot tell which one won. So if anybody wanna link me and send me a recording, said just tape it for me, fine. I would be glad to, I'd be grateful. But looking at the three constituencies over in Western, we have Montague against Woodbine. That is gonna be interesting. That one is like one of the 100 meters in the World Cup, at the World Cup coming up. Here we have defending champion in green, and over there in orange, we have Woodbine, who has worked up a big groundswell of enthusiasm among his supporters. So, can Woodbine dethrone the old lion, or will Bobby pull some trick out of the bag? And that's what I'm expecting. I honestly, the way I think somehow Bobby Montague will pull that off. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. Going into Central, where you have Newell against Mirage, I think Newell is a little more well known. Mirage is this young and upcoming young man, and he seems to be very charismatic. Mirage seems to be very charismatic, and from what I'm reading on his Facebook post, well thought out. Newell, well, Newell studied law, and you're going to expect him to be very steady and very articulate. But both parties have massive amount of supporters, and I just hope this is a clean and fair election. I can't see why it shouldn't be. And going over to Southeast, you have Dunn, who seems to have really tried to do stuff in his constituency, but you have Christopher Brown, who, like I said, the PNP, they seem to have, I think they're putting everything into this election. And I wonder, who has more to lose in this election? Is it the PNP or the GLP? Somehow I think the PNP has a lot more to lose. I think if they fail in this bid to win back the government, they'll be out in the woods. I just have that feeling. They'll be out in the woods for a long time. They'll be out there for a long time. JLP losing, I think they can quickly retool and come again. But with the PNP, you wonder who would be the next leader if they were to fail in this bid. And I'm hoping that whatever the results, I'm hoping that it will be a peaceful one. And if there's going to be a transition of government, I'm hoping that would be smooth and peaceful too. But that's me getting ahead of myself. Just thinking aloud here, guys. But elections, one of the most interesting, I wouldn't say nicest, one of the most interesting times in Jamaican society. Most Jamaicans live for two things: Olympics, track and field, and elections. And I know several people who are just going down, flying down just for the election. Like some who flew down for festival, there's some who fly down for carnival. I have friends who say, hey, election, they're going home. I wish them all the best and hope they stay safe. It is something I wish I could be there to participate in, but I'll be watching it from here, reading it, trying to read everything. And I depend on you guys to keep me abreast of the whole thing, to let me know what's going on. And I wish the comments on Facebook, I wish they could be a bit cleaner, a bit kinder, and a bit more in detail. Some people tend to post some cryptic comments where you wonder, what are they talking about? What does he or she mean? They just post a sentence or a question, and you're left to wonder, what is this all about? Guys, if you're posting, please come out and say what you have to say, please, so we can have an idea. And for those posting, don't just post and run. You post something and then people respond and you don't say anything after that. If you're going to have a conversation, have a conversation. And that's why I would ask you you're brave enough, come on and let's talk. But some people seem scared. How can you be scared when you go on Facebook and you post a long epistle with your name and everything, your profile picture, but you're afraid to come here and talk. That amazes me. That one doesn't compute. But guys, think I'm on long enough here. If you're gonna comment later on in the week, if you're gonna see this, because I didn't really publicize this one tonight. So if you have to comment later on tomorrow, sometime in the week, please do so. And please be respectful. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Garfield Waller from Rock the Mic, signing out. Hoping you have a very pleasant weekend. For those who are of that persuasion, find yourself in either church, your temple, your mosque, wherever tomorrow.